Congratulations on the pledges that you received today. I also note that you had an op-ed piece in The Guardian this morning with Dominic Raab, in which you argued that this is such a severe problem in terms of global education that we're in danger of having a lost generation of children. I found that quite haunting. Could you tell us a little bit about the arguments you made in that piece? And then I want to, after that, ask you a little bit about the scene at the G7 gathering.
Sure. What we are very fearful of is that the pattern of the pandemic's effect on education will be like that of earlier health crises. So we know, for example, when Ebola hit a number of nations in Africa and schools understandably had to close because of the health emergency, when schools were ultimately reopened, the most marginalised children didn't make it back to school, particularly the girls, many of whom had been subject of child marriage, some of whom had gone on to child labour. Some families had decided that they would keep their girls home from school on domestic labour in order to free up an adult to go and engage in some sort of economic activity. So, seared by that experience, when the pandemic started, and at the height of it, 1.6 billion children were out of school, schools were closed. The Global Partnership for Education quickly mobilised to try and maintain educational continuity in very poor countries where there isn't access to the technology we're using now, where solutions have to be different, but also to enable schools to be ready to go when they were reopening so that they could get every child back into the school community. And that is a vital piece of work. But even if we do that, David, of course, that doesn't fix all problems because we went into this pandemic with 250 million children on the planet of school age not in school, and hundreds of millions more were in school, but either for such a short amount of time or their schools were of such poor quality that they didn't even acquire basic foundational skills like literacy and numeracy. So we knew we had a big education challenge before the pandemic. We're clearly worried it's been exacerbated by the pandemic. And that's why we are so focused on mobilising these new resources to make sure that instead of a dark and dim future, that we can get out there and, to use the words of Prime Minister Johnson from today's summit, build back better.